Hi! Today's episode we are gonna talk about relationships. Different types of relationships and the norms, what are there. In the episodes of Hack Your Sexuality, we have covered and still will cover the topics related to sexuality. If you would like to refresh your mind what is sexuality, I would recommend you to check the intro video. So far we have covered quite many topics. For example, body image, sex, toys, fantasies, and self-dating. If some of those catch your mind, I highly recommend to check those too. I'm Janika Ruuska, the creator of Hack Your Sexuality. I'm a sexual counselor who is also studying neuroscience. On today's episode, we are going to talk about all kinds of relationships. Welcome to today's episode. So the first question, which I find it easy when I think it by myself, but really hard to describe aloud, is that what is a relationship? Meaning that what makes it as a relationship? How it differs from friendship? Is it this certain type of love? Or is it sex? Is it agreement or parenthood? Is it something else? So even it feels really simple to us maybe to recognize that, okay, this is the relationship. It's really hard to put actually into the words how it differs exactly. Maybe some of the things might be easy to say aloud how they differs, but it's also good to remember that not everyone are defining it as a similar way. Next, I will tell you a few different types of relationships. You can find these also from my webpage called hackyoursexuality.com. So the different types of relationships are the following. We have so-called monogamy, which means that you have one intimate partner at a time. So two people are a couple. Then there is this general concept called non-monogamy, and under that you can put lots of different types of relationships. When we talk about open relationship, it's both kind of definition for one type of relationship, but also kind of roof concept to different type of open relationships. And I will describe those in a bit. But in a general way, open relationship means relationship between two or more where all involved are agreed that there can be other intimate relationships too. This term is also used when maybe couple has agreed that they can have sex with other people. Then there is so-called polyamory, which means that there is possibility to have more than one sexual and romantic relationship at a time. Polyamory can look different, and there are names for different shapes of polyamory. For example, triad, like three people are dating each other. If only one person is involved with the other two, it's called we. Then there is also so-called quad polyamory relationship. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but basically it is meaning that there is 4 people involved who are either all or some of them having intimate relationship to each other. There are also so-called monopoly relationships where the other person is having these polyamorous relationships and the other one is only with this one person. But at the same time meaning that everyone are aware of the situation and have agreed about it. As usually, categories are sometimes making it easier to understand what we are talking about. So we have some kind of name for the things. But even though we might know what we are talking about, it's always needed to understand that we still might have a different shapes for things. So discussion is needed again. It can be, for example, that some people are in monogamous relationship, but once in a while they open their relationship. Maybe a few words about monogamy. It's interesting to focus to the questions how that kind of relationship should look like. We are surrounded by people, and there are quite many who are in monogamous relationship. And then we might forget to think what we actually want from that kind of relationship. So maybe if you think that monogamy is your thing, what do you think needs to be there? Do you need to live together? How your relationship should look like? Do you want to sleep in the same bed? Is flirting with others allowed or not? So, even though we are talking about monogamy now, it can look different from other person's monogamy. So it's really interesting to think how your monogamy would look like. But if you are thinking about more open relationship, one thing is to ask what kind of open relationship you prefer. Should it be open all the time? Or would you like to have just opportunity to talk about open relationships? Then if you are in open relationship, what are the things you would need there? Do you think that you want to date separate people or same ones? Is it happening only when you are going together some place? Is it that you can have sex with other people? Is it that you can have sex with that other people just for once, or that you will have the sex with some other people multiple times? Is it that you have agreed that when you are traveling it's fine? Or is it that you can actually build some kind of relationship to that another person? So there are many questions, way more than these which I'm mentioning here, what are good to think about. One important question is that why you would like to have open relationship. There is not kind of right answer for that. And maybe some people just feel that this is just my thing and I can't explain it more. And that's totally fine. But there is one answer which I would say it's a little bit harmful if you answer this. So if you are in monogamous relationship and things has gone wrong for a long time and you don't know how to fix it, everyone are feeling really bad in that relationship, and then you would think, maybe open relationship would be solution. So kind of thinking that it will fix the monogamous relationship. Of course, in every relationship we might experience difficulties, but I bet that you can see the difference when you try to fix the problems with someone else. And in addition to the fact that usually those other people who is brought to the relationship normally doesn't fix the relationship, but it's also really, really important to remember that it's not just about people in that relationship, but also the other person is human being there. So all of the people involved are deserved that they are treated well. What comes to open relationship, it's quite often so that you have a so-called primary relationship and then the secondary relationships. There are other ways to so-called that everyone are equal. But what comes to this primary and secondary relationship, it doesn't mean that people doesn't have equal rights to say things and say what they would like to have. It may mean that some people who are in this primary relationship might live together and kind of maybe planning the future, and maybe the secondary relationship is kind of more lighter. Some things are done together and otherwise they are living really separate lives. There are many options for this, but this was just one example. Sometimes life changes and wishes changed and everything changed. And of course talking all the time is really important. But if these kind of changes would come that open relationship is not option anymore and there has been other people involved. It's always important to talk with everyone and actually listen to everyone. So there came quite a lot of information today, and you may recognize what type of relationship you would like to have. You maybe might have a name for that. But remember that also under that name you can define the relationship as you want. So even though you would like to have a monogamy, you don't need to do things as everyone else are doing. Listen to yourself and talk with others too. So it's really important to listen to yourself and the others who are involved and talk as always. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. See you on next time. Bye.